My parents sued me for my new house. It should go to your sister. They argued. In court, I defended myself without a lawyer. When the judge heard their plan, their case collapsed, and 29 male, bought my first house last month after saving for 8 years, and now my parents are literally suing me for it. Yes, you read that right. This whole situation is so insane, I'm still trying to process it. Let me give you some background first. I'm the eldest of 2 kids. Started working at 16, grocery store, pizza delivery, whatever I could get. Became financially independent at 18. That's when I bought my first car, a 1998 Honda with 200,000 miles for $800. Saved from those jobs. Went to community college while working full-time. Then did coding boot camps and got IT certifications. Been in cybersecurity for the past 8 years. My sister, Melissa, 26, is the golden child. She was gifted a life I could only dream of. While I was clocking in for night shifts, she was attending a prestigious private university. While I was saving every penny for textbooks, they were funding her master's in art history and 2 semesters studying abroad in Europe. They paid for everything. Her tuition, her housing, her spending money, her spring break trips to Cancun. They even bought her a brand new car for her 16th birthday. I've never asked them for a dime since I turned 18. Instead, I saved. I saved religiously since the day I got my first real job. No fancy vacations, no designer clothes. I lived with roommates in cramped apartments until just last year. Every dollar I could spare went into a high-yield savings account, all with one goal in mind: owning my own home. Finally, last month, I did it. A beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with a nice backyard for a future dog. It cost me $385,000. I put down a 20% deposit, $77,000, all from my own savings, and secured a decent mortgage rate. It was the proudest moment of my life. 2 days after I closed on the house, I get a text from my dad. We need to discuss the house situation. Call me immediately. I called, thinking maybe they want to come visit, perhaps even offer to help paint. I was so naive. Look, son, my dad said, his voice void of any congratulations. We've been talking as a family, and we think it's only fair that Melissa gets the house. I actually laughed. I thought it was some kind of bizarre joke. What are you talking about, Dad? He wasn't joking. She's struggling with student loans, he continued. She can't afford rent in the city with her career path. You're doing well for yourself. You can easily buy another house. My mom got on the phone then, her voice dripping with faux disappointment. We raised you, we supported you, and now it's time for you to give back to the family. Your sister deserves some stability. Family helps family. Don't be so selfish. The conversation went downhill fast. I reminded them that I paid for my own education, that I saved for 8 years for this house. Their response? They started yelling about my moral obligations. I hung up. A week later, I was served papers. My own parents were suing me for the house I had just bought. Their lawsuit was a masterpiece of delusional entitlement. It claimed I owed them for the cost of raising me, that Melissa's student loan debt made her more deserving of the house, that they had an emotional investment in my success, and therefore had a right to redistribute my assets as they saw fit. And the craziest part? They demanded I not only transfer the house title to Melissa, but also continue paying the mortgage for 2 years until she could get on her feet. I decided right then and there, I wasn't just going to fight this. I was going to obliterate it. I chose to represent myself, not just to save money, but because this case was so personal, so absurd, that I needed to be the one to dismantle their arguments piece by piece. The next 2 months were a flurry of preparation. I gathered every document imaginable: bank statements, mortgage papers, employment records, old emails where they had denied me help with college textbooks because they were focusing on Melissa's education. Meanwhile, their side was a circus. My aunt, my dad's sister who held a petty grudge against me, was financing their lawsuit. Melissa started posting pictures of my house on her Instagram with captions like, "Can't wait to make this house a home. #family first." My parents tried to poison my grandparents against me, but Grandpa, a man of few words and much wisdom, literally told them to fuck off with that bullshit. The day of the court hearing was surreal. My parents, my sister, and my aunt arrived wearing matching t-shirts that said, "Family first." Melissa tried to rush over and hug me for the cameras, or, well, for the one other person in the courtroom, loudly saying, "I forgive you for making us do this." I just stepped back and let her stumble. Their lawyer, an ambulance chaser who looked deeply embarrassed, presented their case. He showed the judge photo albums from my childhood and a spreadsheet of their child-rearing costs, which included a McDonald's Happy Meal from 2003. They presented Melissa's business plan for turning my house into an artist retreat. When it was my turn, I didn't need photo albums. I had facts. I showed the judge my bank statements, my mortgage, my college tuition receipts, and proof of my financial independence since age 18. Then came the key moment. The judge looked directly at my sister. "Miss Melissa," she asked, "what is your current employment?" Melissa puffed up with pride. "I'm in a transitional period, focusing on my artistic growth. I'm a TikTok dancer and lifestyle influencer." The judge's expression didn't change. "And how much income does this generate?" "I'm building my brand," Melissa said confidently. "These things take time." The judge leaned forward. "So let me understand this clearly. You want this court to order your son, who has worked and saved for 8 years, to give his house to your unemployed daughter, and you want him to continue paying a mortgage for her." Before their lawyer could object, the judge slammed her gavel. "I've heard enough. I'll issue my ruling in writing." The case was dismissed 5 days later with the judge's written opinion stating it lacks any legal merit whatsoever. Outside the courthouse, my family completely lost it. My aunt screamed that I was dead to them. Melissa fell to her knees on the courthouse steps, wailing that I had stolen her future. But I was already moving on. I went home and reviewed the footage from the new security cameras I'd installed. It caught my aunt approaching my driveway with can of spray paint before being spooked by the motion lights. I filed a police report immediately. The family drama exploded online. Melissa started a fraudulent GoFundMe. My mother posted sob stories in local Facebook groups. I documented everything and filed for a restraining order against my aunt. The extended family finally fractured, with cousins and uncles chiming in on the group chat, calling out my parents for decades of favoritism. My grandpa's message was a final word. "You too are disgraceful excuses for parents. My name succeeded despite you, not because of you." 6 months have passed, and life has found a new normal. The restraining order against my aunt is now permanent after she violated the temporary one by harassing me at work. Melissa's GoFundMe was shut down for fraud, and she's now working at a Starbucks, complaining about it on Instagram. My parents and I are no longer speaking, a mutual decision that has brought me nothing but peace. My career is thriving, and I've adopted a German Shepherd mix from the local shelter named Luna. She's currently asleep at my feet in the house I fought for. The best development, however, has been my relationship with my grandpa. He comes over for dinner every Sunday. He's teaching me woodworking in my garage, a bond my parents have prevented for years. Last week, while we were working on a bookshelf, he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "I'm proud of you, kid. You stood up for yourself." My parents still tell anyone who will listen that I tore the family apart, but they're wrong. The family was already broken by their favoritism and entitlement. I just refuse to be the one to pay for the damages anymore. The best revenge isn't loud. It's living a quiet, peaceful, happy life in a house you earned, with a loyal dog by your side. And that's exactly what I'm doing.